I don't have cool, fancy craft beer. I just have, the $3 from across the street beer, but it'll do. So thanks for hanging out today.
More to go with that or what?
What'd you say?
You have any more to go with that or what?
I mean, I hurt on the inside, but not that badly that I would voluntarily subject myself to that. Although I know that industry folks love their Malort. Are you a Malort drinker?
I am known that it's kind of a known fact that I love the stuff.
So like what happened to you that's the case?
I thought it was the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my life the first time I had it. But it's like, I don't know, it's like pain or whatever. You keep going back being like, it can't be that bad, right? And then I just acquired a taste for it.
That's Stockholm Syndrome. The thing that you're describing right there, that is Stockholm Syndrome. I'm not convinced. Wait, so then if Malort doesn't taste that bad to you at this point, I have to bring it back to your first ever then alcoholic beverage. How did that taste to you? Like the first time you ever had a drink? And tell me also that story, because I know it's got to be a good one.
I mean, what I remember is my dad, when I was a kid growing up, owned like a midget race car. So he's always, like, we stored it at our house, and he's always working on it. And they drink beer, and obviously he'd be like, here, take a sip, don't tell your mother. But it didn't taste bad, but I think it was probably more of his backwash because it was like the last little bit. So there was probably barely any beer in there.
I think that counts as child abuse, not the giving the beer, the fact that he waited until the end when he wasn't going to want to drink it, but he was like, I can't just dump out this last sip.
And I think it went here. You can have the last little bit. Don't tell your mother, go get me another one. So.
So then what happened the first time you went out of your way to get a drink? Were you prepared? Did it taste better in comparison to the backwash and you were like, oh, this is okay? Or was it like a normal, oh, I hate this, but I want to be social?
I honestly don't remember.
That means you did it right.
Well, I mean, it was, I'm not going to discuss it. We were fortunate to have older aunts and uncles that we'd camp out in the backyard of our grandparents' house, and they'd grab us a 6-pack of something when we were too young. So
families.
It was the first beer I really remember drinking in that case was a Coors Banquet.
Oh, yeah. So water.
It was like $1.89 for a 6-pack back then. So we just pooled together our change and we were good to go.
I mean, I still drink that way, basically. So I guess I can't really, I can't be like, oh yeah, man, those were the days. Like, no, these are still the days for this liver. Yeah. So tell me about how you go from drinking beer that allegedly perhaps your aunts and uncles may have supplied you with, which love it. Absolutely amazing. To Devil's Trumpet. And please tell me, first of all, the origin story, but then also that name. What a name.
Yeah, it's a long name. When we went to name the brewery back in, I think it was like we started in 2014, officially opened, but we were trying, hashing out our business plan and trying to come up with a name. And, I always equate it to, it's like trying to get 4 guys to agree on a name of a band. It's just hard to where, 3 people are like, oh, that sounds great. One person's like, I don't think so. So one of our former partners came up with the name. It's a flower. So he wanted to, start like a Belgian European style brewery. So that's why he really liked that name. But that's not what we are.
Yeah.
It was the best name we could come up with, but it's the only thing I've found over the years is it's very long-winded. I mean, it's a mouthful to where when I say it, because I used to do all our sales in the distro, people are like, what? Or they think it's got some kind of satanic, tie-in or something Urban Dictionary weird. And we're like, no, man, it's a flower. So
it's just a flower.
Yeah. So I honestly, for a while, I've been saying DT Brewing because it's a lot easier and it's a lot easier for people to understand.
That's fair.
And most people that come in, like customers, are like, hey, you want to go to DT? So I think a lot of breweries do that if you have quite a long name.
Oh yeah, nobody has time for those syllables. Are you kidding
No,
me?
exactly.
We have to be on our Facebooks, on our phones constantly to have attention all the time. We don't have patience for syllables. No way. But I do think you could have just leaned into that satanic thing. I mean, what would have happened? You could have had Thursday seances.
Personally, I'm a huge metalhead. I mean, I've grown up since I was a kid. I mean, my first concert was Megadeth, Warlock, and Sanctuary at the old Aragon Brawl Room when they used to zip tie the chairs together and serve $5 buckets of beer. But I mean, it's not really. I mean, we kind of thought about doing, I mean, there is a lot of music, like incorporating a lot of our beer names and stuff. And obviously I love music. So when I write recipes, sometimes, it's like the old thing, art inspires art. So I'll like hear a song or a riff and I'm like, man, I could taste it in my head, which sounds weird, but
interesting.
So I'll write a recipe to it, but it just gets away from you. I mean, and then also you're pigeonholed to where that is what you are, and that's the only thing you can do. So
I'm really hung up on you like hearing something and being able to like sort of take that. You were actually the first brewer who has said something even remotely similar to that, and I find that that's so interesting. It's got to be some form of like synesthesia, I think. So is that like your brewing process? Like you get inspired by something and then you can like taste it first and then you're like, I got to find that flavor. I have to make that specific beer. Or is it we're just going to brew something and see what happens kind of thing, or both?
No, it's there is thought put into it. I mean, at the point we're at, I mean, I do have a small 1-barrel pilot system, but I don't like wasting time or money. So I mean,
obviously you don't have time for syllables. We don't do time or money wasting here.
But I mean, there is something, sometimes you take chances because you don't know if something's definitely going to work or whatever, especially like with a lot of like new hop varieties, try to figure out what goes good together. I mean, you calculate everything out, but until you actually brew it, it's just calculations. I mean, you might be shooting for something that's not bitter, but real fruity and juicy and aroma and flavor. And it turns out super bitter because for some reason, the hop you get amazing utilization. But no, I mean, I think inspiration comes from everywhere. So like I said, sometimes things are planned out. Sometimes, like I said, I'll hear a song, I mean, it just happens. I mean,
I love that you look at it almost like artistically, though. Like it's like a creative process for you.
Well, I'm a former musician, so I think that's why. I used to play bass. I try now, lately again, but I've been playing bass for a long time.
So when do we get to see you perform at DT?
Who knows?
I know the lingo now because we're best friends now. So yes, I call it DT. We have drinks there all the time. Right? Yeah, it's definitely what it is. So then tell me what your, I guess, brewing philosophy is at Devil's Trumpet. Because like you said, you wanted to start off as this sort of Berlin traditional style, but that's not who you are. So who are you guys now?
So there was 2 original brewers when we first started, myself and our former head brewer. So he came from, like I said, the Belgian European style of brewing, and I came from more of the traditional like English, and then like American style of brewing. So it was kind of like a yin and yang. But now I've taken back over the brew house in September of 2019. I came back in the brew house full time. So it's just, I mean, I appreciate all styles. When I started, I tried to brew everything. That way I could understand not just the styles of beer, but all the ingredients that you can use. Because, sometimes something that's supposed to be just used for this style of beer, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to. I mean, you might be able to use it in something else. But I mean, it's we always said we always brew beer that we would like to drink, kind of like the Midwest style is what I call it. I think like East Coast breweries are more malt forward. And then West Coast breweries, everything's a little bit drier. And I guess I'm specifically talking about like the IPA style, whereas us in the Midwest, we're just kind of like, in the middle where it's full flavor, super aromatic, but it's clean and you can drink more than one, maybe 2, 3 at a time. So
perhaps I'm getting a little too maybe technical in this, but do you think that there is a reason why East Coast brews one way, West Coast brews the other, and Midwest has its own like version of brewing?
I mean, the game's changed now. I can honestly say that. But like when I got to brewing, I think it's because, that's more like that's where the country was settled. So you got all the English influence, the more malty style beers, whereas people traveled further away, it kind of experimented. Whereas the West Coast, I mean, it's all hands off, I mean, they do whatever. And then and the biggest thing too is water. Water makes a huge difference. And we're really fortunate where we are with, the wonderful water that we get from Lake Michigan. So, I mean, there's a reason why there's a lot of breweries, a lot of big breweries too, in the Midwest. So water does make a huge difference.
And I never thought about Lake Michigan contributing to my beers like this, but now I have a whole other reason to be thankful to that beautiful body of water. It helps get me drunk. Hell yeah, Lake Michigan.
So what? Dive in and start drinking the water, but I mean, it's actually some of the best water. So
don't tell that to any person under the age of 10, not to just dive in and immediately start drinking water, because I can't get my child to stop doing that. And I've convinced myself that there's a benefit there, right?
Take it to an ocean.
There's like bacteria or something that's going to be like good for the immune system. Like their body has to learn it now so that they don't die later. That's what I've just kind of decided.
Yeah, that's how kids are, just throw some dirt on it,
Yeah, something like that.
I'll drink out of the water fountain or the hose, garden hose. I mean, who knew what the hose was made of back in the day? So
yeah, and I definitely turned out fine. I mean, I dropped out of college and I had pink hair, but other than that, like I turned out fine. So what do you guys have coming up in 2021? Obviously, we're halfway through the year now, but I imagine getting through the pandemic was not an easy feat. And I also imagine that perhaps you're excited to get some events going on the calendar and get back to real life.
Yeah, last year was definitely, it was interesting.
Yeah.
To say the least. I mean, could anybody see anything like that coming? I mean, it was really weird, but I feel like things have, I actually could say things have really started to pick back up. Like things are going back to normal, and I could see just by how much beer we're sending out. Especially it's keg beer. All the bars and restaurants are opening up because like where we're at, we're in Lake County, so we're kind of in the timeout corner. Kind of because we're pretty much part of Illinois, so we kind of had to follow what was going on there, and but we did get a little bit further of a head start than Illinois did. But I could totally see that things are going back to normal. The beer festival scene has just exploded this year. It's just ridiculous. But and customers people just want to get out. Get out of the house, talk to people.
Sure.
Social again, if you will.
Have a life.
Pretty much, and beer is a social drink. I mean,
yeah,
you go out to have a beer and have conversations with people. So,
and I'm glad that you bring that up because that brings me to my next question. Every brewery has at least one customer story that the staff all knows. This customer came in, did this crazy thing, or was very touching, or whatever it is. Do you have a customer story that you can share with us? We've had, for example, we've had people that have stood up on their bar stools at the bar and just unscrewed a light bulb because they thought it was cool and just took it out of the brewery. We've had people steal the giant toilet paper rolls, not the little ones, the giant like commercial toilet paper rolls from the bathroom, put them on their arm and be like, okay, bye.
I mean, we have our regulars, which are awesome, but like customer stories. I mean, so when we first opened, we bought these really nice hand soap dispensers for our bathrooms, and of the women's and the men's bathroom, within, I think the first week and a half, the men's bathroom one went missing. And then the following week, the women's bathroom went missing. So then we started using just the throwaway plastic ones that you buy the stuff in. Because we thought it would be nice. Because when we went to open a brewery, we were like, what's the one thing we really, that makes a difference that people remember? And clean bathrooms. I mean, we all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we wanted to have like really nice, clean bathrooms, and yeah, it was just unfortunate. So we have
there were dispensers on the wall, and someone took it.
Oh no!
Okay.
On the sink. So yeah, there were these really nice ones. I think we spent like almost $10 each on them.
Who has that thought process? Who's like, this is a nice soap dispenser. I could go get one.
Especially from the guys' bathroom.
Right.
Unless it was, no, because we opened in June. So it was summer and it was hot when we first opened. So, but I mean,
but you know what? It's because guys get real pockets. See, women can like sneak things in their purses. But that's because we have to have purses because we don't get pockets. But you guys get like actual pockets that you could probably fit a soap dispenser in. Must be nice. Can't really.
Well, now we got just the cheap plastic ones. But I don't know. I mean, there's been tons of stories over the years. So there's one memorable one, but I will not repeat it.
Oh, come on. No. You can't say shit like that, man. You gotta do it.
That's exactly why. Exactly what you just said. The shit word.
Tell me right now. Tell me right now.
I mean, it's like any public bathroom. Sometimes people travel from breweries to breweries or whatever. And yeah, there was one, I mean, it was years ago. And I remember who the guy was. I didn't know who he was, but
that's what I was gonna ask. Was do you know who was the culprit?
No, okay. It was two guys that were traveling through. They were going brewery hopping, and we were the last stop before they were heading home. And we didn't serve them because they had enough. But the guy came and bought some beer to go, and then because he said his buddy was waiting in the car, and then all of a sudden I see this guy walk in and disappear for a while. And then the guy purchased beer, left, and then all of a sudden he comes back in and he's like looking around. I was like, everything all right? And he's like, yeah, my buddy, I don't know where he's at. He's not in the car. And all of a sudden his buddy came out of the bathroom and he's like, oh, there you are. Well, let's go, man. And I was like, okay. Well, a customer came up not 2 minutes later and said, hey, something smells really bad back there. So the girl working in the tap room at the time went back in the women's bathroom, nothing. In the men's bathroom, she's like, oh my God, Chris, you got to go figure it out. And I'm like, why do I? I'm just here to help out. She's like, it's the men's bathroom. You're a man. So I went in there and yeah, the guy couldn't control himself and had an accident and decided to throw it in the garbage can. Yeah, it was disgusting.
That's not where I saw that going out. That is not what I had envisioned. And you could not have said anything better. I could not have prepared myself for that.
Yeah, that was, I think that was the worst customer story. I mean, I found little mice in the women's bathroom before, but yeah, that men's bathroom incident was bad.
Okay, so you need to stay away from bathrooms for like the rest of your life that aren't your home.
It's a tap room, so it is kind of my home. It's like, come on, really?
Yeah, you're right. Damn, yeah, you can't escape it all. Oh my God, the effort that you have to get, like, in the why the trap in this? It's right
here's the thing. So those guys had a 2.5-hour road trip ahead of them. So imagine the guy, riding in that car. I mean, that's what I was like, okay, you know what? You did that to our bathroom, but you got to suffer in a vehicle for 2.5 hours, let alone your buddy does.
God. Also, they were inebriated too, right? And then they also have it too. What did you say?
I said, don't put that on the air.
Okay, fine. I won't. I mean, I can't guarantee that it won't be on the video, but I won't put it on air.
But yeah, no, it was, I guess, probably not what you're expecting, but I mean.
No, first of all, I don't need to expect that. I'm never expecting poop in a garbage can, but I'm grateful for the poop in the garbage can.
It was his underpants too, man.
Oh, so he abandoned ship.
Yes.
Okay, so he was like, I am overwhelmed. This is too much.
Yep, he sneezed, and there was no going back from that.
I almost feel bad for him though, because to be fair, what do you do?
I don't feel bad one bit. He had to take a 2.5-hour car ride back down south.
You're like, no, I had to clean it. I don't feel bad for him. That guy sucks.
He's probably never been back to our brewery. I can guarantee you that probably.
I imagine you probably don't want him to come back to your brewery.
Able to pick him out of a lineup, but I mean, I can imagine. Hopefully he was embarrassed about it.
I don't know how you couldn't be. I mean, the story that tells just to find a pair of soiled underwear.
Oh, the smell was phenomenal.
I
Also,
imagine.
yeah.
I'm so glad that this is where this conversation led. Like, honestly.
I don't know if I am, but like taking the garbage out of the bathroom and everybody in the tap room, put your nose in your beer.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, you got to give a warning for that. Like, so sorry. So sorry about this guy that just pooped in our garbage can and put his underwear in there.
Yeah, right.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, is there anything you would like to get out into the ether for the people to know before we wrap it up with the poop story, which, let me be clear, not upset with ending on that note even a little bit.
I can't remember when this is going to air, but so Thursday? Oh,
Thursday, yeah.
Well, perfect. So unfortunately, I went through that story. This Saturday is our 7th anniversary party.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So last year, obviously, because of the pandemic, we couldn't have one because our opening date was June 24th of 2014.
Okay.
But this year we decided to go ahead and have a party. So it's this Saturday, June 26th, right?
Yes.
Today's the 22nd. So
yes, that's correct. Yeah, 26.
Noon to 7. So I've been like today I posted the first beer, releasing 4 beers in honor of our 7th anniversary. I'll be posting one each day leading up to it. We'll have food truck here, La Katrina. We got 2 bands playing, Dave and Dave band, and then some friends of ours that come in the tap room, Just One and Reckless Rod. So yeah, we'll have a bunch of beers on tap, so it'll be a good time. So yeah, that's this Saturday, June 26th from 12 to 7.
First party of the summer. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So hopefully the weather looks like it's supposed to be good. I don't know. I keep listening every morning on my way to the brewery, and today they said it's supposed to be in like the high 70s, low 80s, and a slight chance of rain, but I didn't look to see when. But who cares?
All weather is beer weather.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's this Saturday. Our address, if anybody's interested, we are at 8250 Utah Street in Maryville. So we are just over the border in Northwest Indiana, probably about 20 minutes from Comiskey Park or the Sox Park, whatever you call it. I call it Comiskey still. Yeah, we're about a mile and a half east of I-65, east down Route 30. So we're pretty easy to get to, highway to highway. Our tasting room is open Fridays 12 to 7 and Saturdays 12 to 5 right now, but you can find our beer pretty much throughout the whole state of Indiana, either at bars and restaurants or liquor stores. So
yeah, and you do have a whole list of where you can find where to just go buy your brews on your website.
But that list is if it's on our website, it's severely outdated. I mean, there's probably over 700 and some accounts now. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere.
That list was only at like 300 and some.
Yeah. Okay. So then we'll find you. We're going to find Devil's Trumpet beers.
Yeah.
Around.
So we've been distributing for 7 years now. So
look at you go. That's like a big deal, distribution, and to be doing it for that long and starting so early.
Business model. I mean, we because of Indiana laws, we were able to have a tasting room, but we wanted to be a distribution brewery.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we did, which, for the last few years, everybody switched to like the brew pub model. Mm-hmm. Everybody's always asking us for food. And then obviously when the pandemic hit, everybody's like, oh, you guys were set in the perfect position. Like, well, I mean, no one ever wishes for anything like that, but
right, but it worked out the best that it could, so thank God for that.
That was pretty much what our business model was. So.
Yeah, well, awesome. Hopefully we'll see everyone out then this Saturday for you guys' anniversary.
Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like I said, those are the most current, up-to-date information. I'll be posting another new beer tomorrow. So yeah.
What's your new beer?
Well, I'm releasing 4. So today, this will.
Yeah.
So I have a Baltic porter called Of the Sea. And then I'll have Organized Chaos. It's a triple IPA. And then Super Haze Big Fluff is a hazy IPA with marshmallow and vanilla beans. And then we'll have our 7th anniversary IPA.
I just want to say Big Fluff all the time.
Yeah. So inspiration came from music.
And those are always the best beers.
Mudhoney. Listen to them in the brew house today because I canned it.
Yes. God, I knew we were going to get along. This has been great. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, Chris.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. I've loved hearing your poop story.
Thanks.